Thank you, Faye. It's now 2000. The Y2K scare, do you remember that? Turned out to be a total bust. The world population topped 6 billion. George W. Bush became president after a hotly contested race that was decided by the Supreme Court, and we still had just 2 women on the Supreme Court. The dot-com bubble burst, and our economy took a nosedive. Only 3 of the Fortune 500 companies were led by women, and reality shows took television by storm. And millions watched the first season of Survivor. Movie tickets were now selling for $5.50 each, and cell phones could easily fit in a pocket. Congress was up to 13% women, including our former First Lady, Hillary Clinton, as New York's junior senator. And in Chicago, Daley was still our mayor. Cynthia at 10 was into her friends' gossip, lip gloss, lots and lots of lip gloss. And given her interest in ancient Egypt, she was sure she was going to be an Egyptologist. Chicago women and girls were the fastest growing segment of Chicago's homeless community. And so under the leadership of board chair Mary Morton, we focused on the complex problems that cause and perpetuate homelessness. And luckily, our grantees were there to take on this important issue.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Drea Hall, and I am a community organizer with the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless. I remember 2000 because it was the last year I was homeless. I had just finished my first year of college and had nowhere to stay during summer break. So I doubled up with friends and tried to stay off the streets. I had experienced homelessness off and on since the age of 6 years old. My mother, I grew up with a single mother, and she had medical issues that got in the way of her sustaining work, which then affected us having stable housing. That summer, at age 20, I took control of my life. I was more determined than ever to finish school and become somebody, to make my voice heard. I didn't want to be a statistic. I told myself this was the last time I would be homeless, and it was. Thank you. So I knew some of the issues firsthand when I started at the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless, a longtime grantee of this foundation. But what I didn't know was the link between homelessness and the sex trade. Many women experiencing homelessness are also involved in prostitution. We cannot work on one issue without working on the other. Both groups have a tendency to be invisible to society. So numbers are hard to come by, but through meticulous research and sensitive research, we've revealed some startling facts. 14 is the average age a woman enters prostitution. In a survey of women in Cook County Jail who had been arrested for prostitution, we found that 2/3 of these women had survived sexual assault. About 90%, 5 out of 6 women had survived domestic violence, and 80% of these women are mothers. All of the coalition's work is closely tied to the community, and our work on the sex trade is no different. My job is to work with the Prostitution Alternatives Roundtable, which we call PART. It's an advocacy group made up of women who have survived the sex trade, and as well as allies from the government and nonprofit sector. I've had the privilege of meeting these women who have experienced so much trauma and have overcome it. The women in PART come with us to lobby in Springfield, telling legislators why it's important to invest and change laws that help women in the sex trade. And more often than not, these legislators listen, and our bills get passed. Finally, these women's voices are being heard. I see myself in these women because we are all success stories. After living through homelessness, I was able to earn a master's degree, travel around the world, and work for one of the greatest organizations in the city. Thank you. The Prostitution Alternatives Roundtable would not be where it is today without the ongoing and early support of the Chicago Foundation for Women. So much of our work relates back to the CFW community. I'm on the board of another longtime grantee called Chicago Legal Advocacy for Incarcerated Mothers. I financially support CFW by telling my story at fundraisers like this and by contributing when I can financially. I'm proud to be here today celebrating 25 years strong as part of a community of people who share my values and my dreams. Thank you.